Hello, hi, welcome to another episode of I use my headphone mic to talk to you from my computer. Look on the bright side. I got better headphones, therefore a better mic. And I'm better at OBS now. This is me going through Midyear stats because I'm obsessed with stats. I love stats. I keep a book tracker on Chrome, on Google Sheets, just for myself. Part of the reason why I'm doing this is one, I love stats. Two, I don't do monthly wrap-ups or quarterly wrap-ups or any of that stuff anymore. I do weekly, like, what I read for shorts and reels and whatnot, but I don't do actual, like, into the stats and whatnot anymore, which means there's no purpose for me to keep this information. Except for myself. I just like having this information. This is gonna be a lot of me repositioning the camera, cause it really hates me and likes to fall down a lot. I don't know why I set it up in this angle. That's part of the reason why. Dude, listen. Basic stats in which, before I actually go and pull up my Google Sheets page, right? Before I pull that up, I'll tell you right now, I'm at 114 books of the year. I'm about to be on 115. I'm like partially through one. Don't worry about it. Shush. I'm fine. We're all fine with this information. I have read 2 classics. I normally do 10 to 15, both classics and nonfiction for my goals. I did 5 this year because I'm not in classics mood. I did 5, but I am in a nonfiction mood. And I made that 25 because I've gotten really into reading nonfiction about like actual like medical stuff and history stuff and all that stuff. I don't know what's wrong with me. Who am I? Anyways, I've read I think 12 now. I just finished one yesterday. That's why. It's not updated on my whiteboard, so I can't actually tell you. But I'm pretty sure it's 12 out of 25. I'm ahead on the Buzzwordathon, both versions, the cover and the normal version. Those are the other challenges I do. I think I'm at 8 out of 12 for both of those. I don't know. I don't update it until the end of the month, so I don't know. As of now, June 14th. So, let's see. Oh, yeah, the other challenge I do is the 25 and 2025. Listen. I think I've read like 4 or 5 of them. On the bright side, I did read the prerequisite for one of the big Brandon Sandersons. I have 2 on that list, and I read the novella in between that I need to read the first one of those 2. So there's that. Good news. Bad news, I still have not finished Game of Thrones, and the sequel's on there. Including La Morte d'Arthur. I don't know what's wrong with me. Will this be the year I finally finish that challenge? I highly doubt it, honestly, at this point. Whoops. I think that's it for challenges, honestly. Now is when we get to talk about the 2 main things that I care about. My 2 main goals of, honestly, every year that I've been on BookTube, but especially this year, I've worked very hard to do it, is number of books total on my TBR. Because in the olden days, like 3 years ago, it was over 1,000. We should all clap about it being 884. That's what I had to check. I forgot to check that. 884 now. I don't know how I did that. I do know how I did that. I am in the middle of doing a big giant project of making a catalog of all the books on my TBR, but also all the books I own physically and haven't read, but also all the books I own on my Kindle and haven't read, because a lot of those aren't on my TBR, because I own a lot. And so that way when, like, I'm doing a reading challenge or something and I need a specific genre or aspect, I can just search in that and it will pull up from all of those. So I can make my way through my Kindle TBR or my physical TBR. Imagine doing that. Not me in this household. But because of that, and me going through my excessively long TBR, I think I'm like 200, 400, something like that. I'm like in the 300, 400 range put in so far of my actual TBR. And because of that, I'm going through and weeding it out. Why was there a day or a week or whatever where I was adding like 25 college bully romances, all LJ Shen-esque? I don't know. Those aren't for me. Why? Who let me do that? I reviewed all those. That was a good day for my TBR. Anyways, we're very proud of that. My goal was to get it below 900 this year. And look at me go. A thing that will help with that is my other challenge, which is, finishing series. I would like to say, I think the number was at, 75 or something like that. There's a video where I go through all of them that you should not watch. Where I go through all of them and weed them out and make new categories. So, ones that, I'm waiting for the next book or the next book to come out. They're not on the list, right? So that I am currently at somewhere in the 56 to 58 range. Last I knew it was 57, but then I finished a few series, but I've also started new ones that I actually put on the list. So I'm somewhere in that range, which is really good. Yes, I did just notice the camera tipped out again. God damn it. Anyways, we're very proud. And this also benefits the TBR one because I generally don't have the whole series on my TBR unless if you count Brandon Sanderson or Rick Riordan. Or Tessa Dare. But that being said, I will then put the next one on when I finish a book. And so if I'm actually finishing the series, there's no more putting any more books from that series on the TBR. Unless we're Yon and the Dawn. Yon and the Dawn, I don't do that. I think it's still sliding down. That's so funny. If you're a collection of novellas or mangas that I read really, really fast, I'm not going to put the next one on because it's just a waste of my time, honestly. Really. So there's that. Good things, stuff that for that stats. Editing me. Cut that out. I pulled up Goodreads. I forgot to switch to the actual tracker. Don't pay attention to all the books I've read so far. Whoops. I would like us all to clap. I don't know where this cuts off, but I think we should all clap about the first book I read of the year being 5 stars. I think we should clap. None of these are DNFs. Because I have a whole section just for DNFs. Which I would also like to know, I'm doing pretty good at. I'm actively DNFing, you can see, on these two, I am over 100 pages in. But I'm still DNFing them. I normally, with, the Under the Oak Tree, I would have, not the angle, I just realized the angle, nah! I fixed it. I just gotta talk like this, because I don't want to hold the mic anymore. Anyways, I set it up the way that I used to set up for streams, that I changed, because somebody stole my phone charger. We're not talking about, I'm slightly pissed. Anyways, Under the Oak Tree, I was about 50% of the way through. Girls of Paper Fire, I was about 25% of the way through. Once I reach that 20%, I'm probably not going to DNF it if I've already reached that far, because I'm I've gone too far. I gotta do it. But I was dying reading Under the Oak Tree, and Girls of Paper and Fire, I recognize was good, but not for me. And it's okay to DNF books in that case. There's another book where I almost DNF'd it just the other day. If it wasn't so easy to just speed read it, I would have, because it was a fine 3-star. It was, and life's too short. I have a goal of 225 books, don't ask. Put in the white man. And so, why would I read it if I don't need to? Anyways, we got a monthly stats page. Very important information. But the same thing is on the quarterly stats, but quarterly, which would have been good if I continued quarterly wrap-ups. But then I stopped doing them because they're a pain in the ass to edit. I love how I read a lot of contemporary romances. And manga. Manga I read a lot of at the beginning of the year. How many did I read? 8. Whoops. Listen, in my defense, I finished a manga series. So, that's why. But yes, we have all of these stats. Doing good. You can see where the drop-off of my reading happened. I was doing really, really good for a bit there. And the drop-off happened in this quarter. that is fine. Yearly stats is where we're going to be sitting for most of this. Like, more stats is just, like, where I see what genre I have. Most 5 stars. Dystopian is winning, even though it's, like, a 4-way tie, I think. Yeah. But historical romance, I'm fine with that one not being the one counted. I think it's because it's the first alphabetical. Historical romance, that's fine. I think both those are rereads. Dystopian, both of those are the new Hunger Games books. We love that for me. Also, look at this number. 11 5 stars. Who am I? I don't know who I am. Anyways, this is like all the stuff so that I can calculate publishing stuff on for my normal stats page. Right. Same for the author breakdown, same for the color breakdown, and whatnot. And book clubs. This one is actually my book club. I don't know why this one's empty. Shush. That's what that page is. And then end of year is. I really hope that was in frame. I know I had to cut the frame weird, so I really hope that was in frame actually. On this page is just like a list of under which rating all the books. Of that rating, which is really could be really helpful for end of year VODs when I can do like my favorites of the year. Shush, we don't need to talk about this page. I don't know what happened to me this year, honestly. Oh my god, I rated a Tokyo Ghoul 4.5. Who am I? Anyways, and then also my least favorites. You can totally guess right now. I don't know if it's in frame because it doesn't go that far. It is in frame, thankfully. You can probably guess what book is my least favorite book of the year so far. I don't know if you can. I have very strong opinions. I should have DNF'd it, but I persevered just so that I could complain about it for 20 minutes in a vlog. Because sometimes that's what I gotta do. Anyways, yearly stats. What we're all here for. Books read, pages read. Average pages per book, right? The way I've DNF'd 11 books in 6 months. That's almost 2 books a month, even though I know there's some breaks. Pages breakdown. There's also the hour breakdown down here, which is very helpful. This aspect is very helpful for me, because normally you may be like, bitch, why not just use Storygraph stats? They're really good, which I agree. The issue is that I don't read a lot of books, especially in the beginning of this year. And so you can tell from the 154 and 7,000 pages. So it is beneficial for me to have my own stats so I can see how many actual hours I'm reading. Because if I'm dual reading, I'll make it either physical or ebook version on Storygraph. Because my pages goal is a higher one, which I am behind on because I upped it by a lot because I was very far ahead. I am currently very far ahead on audiobook, even without these audiobook, like the dual runs being counted. So that's fun. You love that for me. I think I have the goal at like 125, and I think I'm at like 109 or something like that. Like, it's insane. I don't know who I am. Anyways, that makes that actual information more accurate. So we love that. Genre breakdown. I like to break it down into like dark romance, contemporary romance, historical romance, romantasy, right? Because Storygraph has fantasy and it has romance and it has romance and then historical and then it has like romance and contemporary and then just romance. But like they're not lumped together, they're just separated. Same with paranormal romance. So this way I can actually see an accurate representation. I don't know why this is broken, but we're not gonna pay attention to that because that page is, where is it? That information is here anyways. I can just click one tab over. It's fine. Fine. We already talked about that. Publication date. I instead of normally how I did it is I would have it set up by year, right? Like individual year, and then I would type in the year. This year I recognize I don't actually care about that. If I cared about that, Goodreads has a table that shows that to you at the end of the year. That is pretty good. So I don't care so much to make it on my own. What I care about is what I'm reading of new releases / releases from the previous year because I'm usually behind on those. And then versus backlist. So as you can see, I've read mostly backlist because that's normally what I read. And then like just under 10% were 2024 books, which I'm pretty happy with. I'd like it to be closer to 15, but that's fine. And then 5% are new releases, which we're very proud of. How many is that actually? 6. One of them just happened, like, yesterday. I would like to thank the library for letting me put in my loan, like, within 2 hours of the book coming out of Wayward School or Wayward Girls. You know, the new Grady Hendrix. Magic that I managed to get my hands on that so fast, honestly. Format read, physical is just physical. Only 3 were just physical, but there are some that are mixed media in that, where I read both physical and audiobook. Like, there's one this month that I remember where I read both physical and audio, and then there's one that I did just physical this month already. So there's that. That's what mixed media means. It's either ebook and audiobook or physical book and audiobook. And I have things in my quarterly stats off to the side. Here, I can show you. I thought it was off to the side here. Maybe it's not. It is here. I just scrolled down where you can see where I put in the calculations on this page, because less me typing in for the equations, for them to, like, do the math for me, right? So we don't need to talk about how I'm weird about that. Format acquired. This is very helpful for me right now because, one, I don't read most of the arcs I've read this year have been DNFs. In fact, all of them are. These 2 are not actually from NetGalley. These are 2. NetGalley just means arcs in my brain. Okay, because these are both arcs that I got directly from the author. I have another one that I have to read next week, as well as one from NetGalley. But that one I have high hopes for. Kindle. This is why it's important, because Kindle Unlimited, I decided to get a subscription again, and so I wanted to do a analysis of, like, how many I'm actually reading and whatnot, and if I'm actually using it, or I'm going to give it up. Owned is also important because I would like to get through my actual TBR. Hoopla, I don't have anymore. The library I had Hoopla with, I don't have that library card anymore. So, that's from, like, the first month and a half, right, of me having Hoopla online. Usually, like, if I reread Carmilla, I will probably do that by listening to the audiobook on YouTube because it's into the public domain. What's another one? The Stranger, I think is the name of it, is another classic that, like, is in the public domain, and I read it this year. That's why it was on the top of my head. So I just listened to it on YouTube, right? Same with downloaded. And then Libby, I have a separate section for library, for if I ever visit Bestie again, I go to her physical library, right? But Libby just means library. Generally, online library. I'm not surprised that's how I mostly read books. Let's be honest. This is all the publisher's info. This is on the More Stats page. That graph one is, like, all this. And then the pie graph is this info. Right, if that makes sense. So, like, you can see that I've read a lot of manga because that means Viz Media, right? Because I think that's the English publisher of a lot of the manga that I read. And then Self and Indie, these are the ones I really want to pay attention to in comparison to the rest. See, I think I'm at 20. Yeah, so I'm at 20, so that's around 17%. I'd like to, the combination of these, be closer to a quarter. But with me having Kindle Limited, mostly for the fact of reading Romantasy, for a series of vlogs, I'm assuming that's going to get higher. Because a lot of the books I read on Kindle Limited in general are more indie self-published. So, exciting. So this is just, like, a bar graph version that is more of a breakdown, but not really important because the other page is better for that. Star ratings. Cool. We can see the one star. That's fine. We get to see that I read mostly 3 stars and 4 stars. Honestly, usually it's more 4 stars overall. And currently it's more 3 stars. That may be because most books that I would rate, a lot of books that I would rate 4 stars, I've rated 3.5, or 4.5. Right, because rarely would I push the 4.5 0.5s up to 5. I would probably keep them at 4 stars. So if you combine these two, it would be the 4 stars that would be higher. So Goodreads stats probably 4 stars is higher because it doesn't have half-star ratings. I didn't do quarter stars this year. I was going to, and then I was like, that's too much work. I don't want it. And so I did half stars. We're going to ignore the series because that's the last one we're going to talk about. New adult, young adult, and then this is the one in middle grade because I read a Rick Riordan, like, this past week. For the, I was going to say genre, age range. Just because I want to see which ones I'm reading more, right? I'm honestly not surprised I've been reading more adult out of everything else, but I'm also surprised young adult is so high. This is genre breakdown of authors, right? Multiple, I think 2 of these are the sequels to My Lady Jane. I don't remember what the other one is. And then male authors, female authors. I don't think I have any. Yeah, I haven't read any non-binary authors. I should do that. Fudge. I do have plans to read some later. This year, author of colors 36.8%. This should be in black text. I know this, and yet I do this. I'm colorblind. You know me. I should do that. I would like it to be closer to 50%, like around the 45%, I would be really happy with. But honestly, the fact that it's over 25%, I'm happy with. I'm going to blame that on manga. Whoops. New authors, 42.9. Nearly 50%. Honestly surprised by that. Which, you know, go off, I guess. I don't know. A lot of 5 stars I've read this year are new authors. I say that, but I think that's a lie, actually. I think I just lied to you. A thing I forgot to bring up in more stats before we go to series is the color breakdown that has the graph over here. Let me make sure you can actually see that. You can, for the most part. I'm in the way, and so is the cutoff, but that's fine. But the reason for this, like a lot of books, like manga I read, there's like not a primary color on the cover. So those books, I just don't put in a color on my actual logging of stats over here. Over in here. I also have like readathons and whatnot because I've been doing a lot of readathons, and if I've read it for my book club that I run. But the cover, if it's like a complicated cover, I just don't put any color down. But the point of this is because I don't know if you know about that time where I did a vlog series where I read books of a certain color in each one, right? Because the main idea was that I was looking through my Goodreads stats in the year, and I saw that I had a lot of blue covers, and I was like, is that because I'm colorblind? That was around the time that I learned I was colorblind, and I can see blue. And so I assume I can see blue, so I gravitate towards blue covers. And so I was wondering that, and I never really went into deep depth. Near the end, it just became me reading colored books and asking friends if this color is orange or yellow. I was like, these look the same exact color to me. I see a line, but there's the same color, and they're the same color as this. I'm blind. Anyways, that's what that became. So this is basically me doing that experiment, but not recording it. Basically me logging down colors, and then so that I can at the later point be like, what colors do I primarily read? Not surprised it's blue. That makes sense. This follows my reasoning. Gray, honestly surprised by, because I can't. A lot of things are gray to me. So honestly, I may just gravitate towards gray because I see a lot of gray, and then they end up not being gray, according to people. So that's fine. And pink makes sense being high because that's like my favorite color. Yeah, that makes sense to me, right? Red makes sense being so low because I can't see it. Multiple times I've been like, I think this color's orange, or I think this color's gray, but can you tell me, because there's a good chance it's actually red and I just can't see it. And then they go, yeah, it's red, honey. But I go, oh, whoops. Or they go, no, it's actually yellow, and I go, what? So that's just like a random fun fact about me. What we're all here to talk about my series. Okay, I've been really good. If you listen, 32 new series. I know, but I'd like to point out that orange part right there, series DNF'd, is 16. I have been a very good girl, and a lot of the times when I start a series, what happens is two things. I go through the process of, do I want to continue the series? A lot of the times they're like 3 stars, 3.5s. And so if it's a 3.5 stars, in my head I go, do I want to go through the process of adding the next book in the series on my TBR and then having to put it in my catalog, which will take about 3 minutes of my time. Like, it won't take that much time, but like the effort to do it. Do I really want to go through the process of doing that? And 2, do I want to have to also put in the process of adding the series to my series list and take the time to do that, which will take another like 30 seconds of my time. But like, that's like 3.5 minutes I could spend doing other things. And do I really want to do that? Is my thought process every time. And a lot of the times I go, no, I don't. I really don't. Like, so DNF, right? It's just one of those things where if I put an extra step, I think I heard something about people with ADHD or neurodivergent people. If you put that like extra step to do something, like if you lock yourself out of TikTok where you have to type in a password to open TikTok, if you like put in that extra step, extra blocker, that makes it so like you're like, no, actually I don't want to. So like basically before I even heard about that, that's what I did with this for series, and so that's made it so I have DNF'd a lot of series. There is like, I can think of 1 or 2 that I decided I was like just intrigued enough to continue, and then I ended up DNFing. Anyways, in fact one of them's in the DNF pile on the DNF page. The second book is so like, right? Like, I've been a very good girl, right? Also, up to publication, I should put in yellow, or not yellow, white text. Anyways, that is also removed from the total working on. That is another thing I've done to make it so my series total is lower, because if I'm up to publication, I'm not actively reading that series, especially if there's no release date known for the next book. Then why am I having it clogging up and making it so I have like, I think like 15 more series I would be working on? Then like, no. So being up to publication on those 3 series makes it so those are removed from the overall continued. Those are just like not counting ones I also started. Because the way that I plug it in is if I've already put it, like the series already is in something I've read that year, then I just put like series and then just don't put in if it's like series continued or started. But I will check it off if it is DNF, finished, or caught up. Right? If that makes sense. I should actually show what I mean when I say that. Over here. Like, this one is a great example. Black Dagger Brotherhood. Right? Every time. Anyways, I've read like multiple books in this series this year. So the first one that I read this year, I put as series continued, but I'm not going to put like the second and third and the fourth, because then that will say I've continued like 5 series instead of just 1, and that will make the number much lower, right? This one is another perfect example for Tokyo Ghoul. When I finished it, the first one I read this year I marked as continued, but the set afterwards I didn't, and then the one that I finished it on I checked off finished, right? But it's not another continued, if that makes sense. Makes sense, right? Right? Am I making sense? I don't know if I am. And I feel like I should explain that there's also a thing where like, where am I? The working on does not remove like continue. So like the maths. Don't worry, I spent a lot of time making sure the maths. Okay? It's taken a lot of effort. So that's what I do. So I've continued 11 series, but I don't know how many actual books that is, because I've read like 4 Black Dagger Brotherhood series books, and I'm on like volume 18 of Yona, and I start on volume 3 this year. I'm pretty sure. So like things like that. I finished 13. I would like to remind everybody who I am. Who I am as a person. There are more finished than continued. There is probably a little bit of overlap, but they don't intersect, right? We are so proud of me. This final total working on it, the series started and continued combined, and then it subtracted these three combined. I should say that. I think you can see the math up in here. The graph, the equation I made, the insane equation I made. That's how the mathing. It's pride math. I can't explain my mathing. I just know that I do it, and I spend a lot of time making it work out. Okay. So, yeah, I finished more than I've continued. We are very proud. I have been working on duologies a lot this year, or I'm really bad at finishing series because I don't want things to end if I really like them. So I've been also like working on just being like, okay, I'm gonna finish it, right? And then I've DNF'd 16. I think we touched on this. I've been that's like exactly half of what I've started. I think we should all be proud of this fact. I'm a bit really bad at this. So the total working on is 11. But honestly, not that bad for me. Especially since, like, I know I'm gonna finish a bunch more. I know I'm gonna start work because I gotta start the cosplayer suit, like the Way of King series. I can't remember the name of that one, but like, I've been very good about DNFing and actively still working on 11 so far this year. But there's like 57-ish overall. But there's like some that like I'm like waiting for the last book in the series, Libby to come in and stuff like that. Because that be how it is sometimes. But yeah, that's it. I think that's the last piece of important information. I'm just gonna go back to this wonderful page and just like point out this very important information. And we should all be proud. First book of the year. So proud of myself. For the longest time because the stat of most read genre that is 5-star ratings was contemporary. That's funny. Anyways, that's everything. I read a lot of books. I do a lot of stats. I like stats. I may do this again for the end of the year. Do a rundown of all my stats overall because I'm the type of bitch who likes that stuff. If you are not, that is fine. I don't know why you watch this whole thing. It's like 34 minutes of me talking into my headphones that are sitting on a desk. Like, are you okay? Anyways, I should go water my mom's plants. That's what I should have been doing this whole time, or finishing the book. I started an hour ago. That I'm really liking. I was sad to put it down when my computer finally turned on. Anyways, that's everything. Oh look, the book I should have DNF'd. I should give it. Listen, sometimes the ones on the 25 and 25, I think to even though I shouldn't. One of them I did DNF. That was Rose of Paper and Fire. But this one I definitely should have DNF'd. And I feel bad for that one because I kept reading this one. That was hell. But that one that was actually good, which is not my style, was good. Sometimes I have things going on in my noggin. I don't know what's wrong with me. Anyways, I think the only stat that I'm contemplating adding in, right, is the if a book is queer. I am contemplating adding that in, but otherwise, I think I've made this pretty good of what I actually want. Like, I've worked very hard to make it look like this and be nice and easy to set up. Like, it takes me, like, minute 30 seconds. Like, it takes longer for the page to load on my computer than it takes to me to actually log in the info every time I finish a book. Right? If that makes sense. It takes me more time to log a book as finished on the 3 different applications/websites I use. Fable, Storygraph, Goodreads. than it does for me to log information into this. So, like, it's easy to use, and the math does math on its own, and I'm very proud of for making myself set it up properly. I'm really proud. Also, I can see how many authors I read a lot of or not. It's Yona. It's Yona that's the issue. And this is Tokyo Ghoul.
Whoops. Oh, this is the other one that's multiple. Who are you?
Look, that wasn't for me. I forgot that one was into a author. Anyways, that's this vlog, not vlog, video. Me, it's not vlog. Welcome to my face again. That's it. I am gonna go water my mother's plants, read book, drink water because my voice is dying now. Whoop whoop. Thank you for coming to this. I don't know when this is gonna go up. This may go up next week. It may go up the week after that. Probably the week after that because I do have the next vlog ready to be edited. But that is that. That is stuff. Closing out information. God, I'm so bad at outros. Every time I flounder. It's a great. It's great. Mondays I do have shorts of what my weekly what I read is, and I do say how many pages an hour it's read. So if you're interested in that, that's like usually under. Well, it's always under 3 minutes because it's a YouTube short. But it's 3 minutes or less of me just going, hey, this is a book I read, hey, this is a book I read, hey, this is a book I read, hey, this is a book I read. So, those are a thing. If you're into those, I also post them on Instagram. Sometimes I also post book reviews there, too. If I ever actually finish an arc. On Wednesdays is old gaming videos, from my YouTube, or not YouTube, from my Twitch streams, usually. And then Saturdays are my booktube videos. Right? I do have it set up so those are going to be how it is normally. So, there's been, like, so far this year's been had to switch sometimes because me reading stuff and so me not filming, so not being able to do reading vlogs on Saturdays. But now I've pre-filmed a bunch. That's not an issue. So that's how it works. If you're into this type of content, more bookish content, if you want to see more of the books I read, Saturday videos are for you. If you want to see me flirt with a girl, or do really good job running a grocery store, Wednesday videos are for you. Those are the games I play. I'm either flirting with girls or running a grocery store by myself and having a lot of fun. Stay tuned. Otherwise, thanks for coming and watching me talk about stats for no reason. I don't know, I just woke up this morning and want to talk about stats. You ever do that? You ever just... don't ask how my brain works. I don't know. And thanks for watching the video. Bye.